All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Richard Allen, let's touch base here. A lot of phones were found at Richard Allen's house. Okay, so we have that. Why did Richard Allen need all these phones? Although he is missing the phone that he had in 2017. Coincidence? I'm not sure. So, why did Richard Allen? Hello, Miss Debbie Fox. Hope you're having a good evening, the lovely Debbie Fox. Now, the reason he needed all them phones, if Richard Allen is the killer, why did he have all them phones? Because Richard Allen, ladies and gentlemen, was inside of our chats. Richard Allen was diverting people away from stuff, possibly. And when people got too close to the troll, I said that in the beginning of the case, it's very well possible that these this killer or killers are in our chats, are on YouTube. So that would explain so many phones. Also, if he was a pedo guy, um, or drugs, or in any gang or something, that would explain all the phones. But I'm guessing probably is he was keeping track of the case and probably actually in people's chats and possibly diverting people away. And if he knows any of them guys that are involved down there, Keegan Klein and the rest of them guys, uh, he might have been into pedo stuff and he was luring girls to his. He might be a serial killer. He's no idiot. He knew he needed an untrackable phone, an untraceable phone that wasn't connected to him. Are them all the phones? I don't know. Was he using hot phones? Was he getting them from CVS? They sell them there. Track phones, whatever they call them. So all them phones, 26 phones, I think they said, or 28 phones of people, or I don't know if they were all Richard Allen's or Abby had blood on her hands, none of her torso. Yeah, I think she probably slumped over, sat down, ran out of energy, bled to death, and slumped over and landed. She might have been on her knees and fell forward, landed on her head, and was stuck in somewhat of an upside down position. Debbie, you ever get on your knees and then you fall forward, but you put your head down and you could support yourself on your neck? That's possibly how the blood dripped down. Or when they were taken off, they undressed the girl, so they she might have already been dead. And then he undressed the girls. And when he took the clothes off, it smeared the blood. That's very possible too. But I think that explains why he had so many phones. I do believe Richard Allen, if he is the killer, he was the one that was inside the chats. And what was he doing? Recon. He was in the military. Anybody knows that he was doing recon. He was out searching for anybody out there. He might have been a lurer. He might have had other kids on them phones or young girls, or he might have had murders on them phones. But he was military, and that was in his blood. He was trained. And first thing you do to cover your track or protect yourself, you do recon in the field to make sure there ain't nobody out there or whatever. And that's what he did, but it's a different term. He put it towards his account. He might have had many fake accounts. Johnny, were they working phones? That's the key. I'm not sure, Debbie. They could have been just phones that you needed to buy a card and put money on the phone. You can activate the phone by buying a card. Once you're done with the minutes on that card, the phone shuts off. It deactivates. And then you got to buy another card to activate the phone. So it's very well possible that's how he was doing it. Buying cards, these track phones, you buy a card for so much money. He'd put so much money on it, go on the internet, surf the internet on these cases, go in chats, get information, and then possibly the phone would run out of time or whatever, or he would get photos of young girls or whatever. It's very interesting to see if he is the killer and had all them phones. I'm guessing that's what's taken so long, is the data that was on all these phones. And will we ever see all this data? Probably not. What was on? Will we see all the data that was on Keegan Klein's phone and all the kids that were on that, all the girls, right? There's another case that's going to take a long time, because the investigators got to go through Keegan Klein's phone and find out who them 200 or 300 girls were, and then notify their parents, and then investigate to see if they're still alive. Very timely. Cost a lot of money. No, he might have had to change the phone. That would explain. That's why it's called untrackable, because every time you do it, you might have to have a new phone number on that card. Whoa. Maybe. You never know, Debbie. Miss Debbie might be right. I don't know. You'd have to check to see if that phone number on that phone would stay the same, and all you got to do is re-up the card, and each time you re-up it, you still have the same number. Or every time you buy a card and re-up, it's a different number. That could be a way. But all them phones, 26 phones, uh, that's a lot of phones, folks. I mean, I don't have 26 phones. I mean, cell phones haven't been out that long, right? Late, what, 90s, right? 26 phones, I don't know. And were they buried? I heard they were buried in the backyard, so something's up. You don't bury anything in your backyard unless you don't want people to find it, right? Debbie says she's got 12. Yeah, but how old are you, Debbie? And I imagine you had cell phones from the time they came out. You said you had an old flip phone or something. So, I mean, 26 phones, I don't know. It's possible he was buying them from CVS. And untrackable or track phones or whatever they call them. But he wasn't stupid. If he was military, then he would have known he's going to do recon and he's going to evaluate the situation. He probably was on the, like I said, I do believe he was the one in some of these chats. I do believe he was trolling people, whatever. But we have YouTubers from the crime community that have that are trolls themselves, that have been in our chats under alt accounts, or I can name 3 or 4 of them already. So that's common, right? And it's starting to make sense. He changed. He gave him a long name. What he did was he made it sound like either he had a middle name, Richard Allen Whiteman, right? So everyone was thinking his last name was a Whiteman, which Whiteman is common uh, in Indiana. I used to know this little lady that used to run around out here. I think her last name was Whiteman. So that's a common name. Maybe they got it mistaken, but after I guess the years went by, they realized that it wasn't his full name, that it was where he lived. So maybe he tried something like that. His name was Richard Allen Whiteman. We don't know. We don't know. Dollar General. Yeah, Dollar General sells some phones too, Debbie. Debbie's correct about that. Dollar General. That's the store that was right by him, I think. CVS sells them phones too, them track phones. So it makes sense. Maybe he gave him a fake name to try and throw him off. And then, for I don't know how many years, his fishing license said he was 5'4". And then the year of 2017 or whatever, he changed it to 5'6". That's another clue of, now people are saying he had a set of lift boots, 2-inch lift boots or something that he used to wear, but probably not. I'm not seeing big boots on the bridge. But then again, we don't even know if the bridge guy is the real bridge guy, or even the real evidence, the real footage. But we know this much: whoever the killer was, we're not stupid. We know he's on the internet. We know he has been in the crime sector. And there's other people that know. These other YouTubers and madmen or whatever have been in our chats under alt accounts, alt names, hot phones, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, it's a problem. It's going to take a lot of time, folks. This case will be going on for a long time in America. In general, this is how they track terrorists. But now we're doing it in America on YouTube, whatever. Right? I don't know, espionage. It's just crazy. But you have to, Debbie Fox says, but you have to save things to those phones. They don't save info. You have to manually save it. I don't know, Debbie. I don't know what kind of phone he had. I don't know. I know someone's been trying to get into my account for the past 4 years. It is just like they keep sending me messages in my email stating this person is trying to log in with this kind of phone, i3, i6, some kind of a flip phone. It would just went on and on and on. So, do I think he was watching, or these people are watching us and everything? Well, the government has already said that. Doug Carter and them already said they're watching us and they're watching them, whatever. The police, supposedly, the police got all the phones, Debbie. Well, I know when they busted Keegan Klein, he had a bunch of devices on him, iPads and phones, and I know they took numerous devices, they said, out of his house. Some people, I don't know, maybe he bought a lot of phones. Maybe he went through a lot of phones, Debbie. I mean, 23, 26 or something phones he had. I don't know. I don't even know if that's true, but that's what they're saying. So maybe he went through a lot of phones. Maybe he was doing stuff, Debbie, with them phones. And he got nervous and just figured he'd get a new phone and bury the other one. Right? I don't know. I know they were digging. There was reports of the police digging holes in his backyard. I guess the neighbors said they seen him out there digging a hole in his backyard, or a couple holes. It might be everyone in the house phones. It might be. He did have a wife and a daughter, but his daughter was married. This is interesting. If he did this, if he did do it, I don't know. But if he did do it, and he did kidnap the girls, his wife was at work, so he had somewhere he could have took the girls to his house. He didn't have to kill them. He might have done something naughty and then drove them back. When he realized somebody was looking for him, maybe one of the girls' phones went off. He walked them out to that spot, killed them. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Supposedly his wife was at work that day, so he had the whole house to himself. I think that's what they said, Debbie, was some of this stuff was buried in his backyard. Excuse me. And there's clothes missing from the girls. So I wonder if they found any clothes or anything at her house. That might be their case. People do not realize law. Well, there's no DNA. You got no DNA of Richard Allen at the crime scene. No, I don't. But what I got is a pair of underwear and a couple socks and a shirt that I found at Richard Allen's. Explain that. So you don't need DNA. You don't need DNA to lock someone up for the rest of their life. All you need is evidence. See, now Richard Allen would have to explain why he had these young girls that were dead clothing or any article or any fiber or anything of theirs on him or at his house. Even the phone number, even the account that was being used. Maybe Richard Allen also was Anthony Klein. I think Keegan Klein said that the only people that used that account was him and his dad, or maybe it was his dad. But then later on in the case, he came out and said that, well, other people were using the account. So maybe Richard Allen was one of them. And that's how he knew the girls would be there. Who knows? What do I think? I don't know. Maybe he's a hitman. Maybe Keegan Klein got himself knee deep in shit and called a couple of the crews, and the crew took care of the situation and got rid of the girls. We don't know. Johnny, I said that because it would help. I mean, dude, did you dude did say he did it over and over. Yeah, he did. But I know what it is to be that mentally ill where you don't care and you just say whatever they want to hear because you just want it to stop. I know how that feels. I've been in that predicament, mental health wise, where you just don't care, right? So it's a catch 22, Debbie. You know what I mean? He might have just confessed because he was sick and tired of it, or he might have confessed because inside he knew there was evidence that was going to lead to him. Munching on some grapes. What are you confused about there, sweetie? They say they have every phone he owned, except for the phone that he owned in 2017, the year of the murders. He kept every single phone he had. And he didn't bust them up or anything. Usually people like me, normal people, that if you have an old phone, you might keep it and not break it. Or you might be someone that is only interested in the gold that's inside of them, and you bust it, tear it all down or whatever, and you just keep everything that's got gold plate on it, all the pins, the computer chip. There's gold in there. People actually buy phones that don't work and that are old just for gold. I don't know, Doug. That's a good question. W. Fox says, this case, Johnny, is it the people who want more, or is it just cut and dry, like RA did it and it was just him? That's it. And that's where we've lost this case already. That's where we lost the case, because these people don't see the big picture. Yes, we want the killer or killers, but we also want these people that surrounded themselves by these people. Because if one of them's a pedo, then there's a good chance that there was more. If one of them's a killer, usually these people, well, they stick together, right? I mean, I'm just saying, right? If Keegan Klein was a pedo guy and had 300 photos of girls or whatever in his phone, and he was selling them, making money, who were the people that he was around? Who was he friends with? Who knew? Who didn't know? I listen to some of these YouTubers, Debbie, and they're like, I'm Richard Allen. It was Richard Allen in it. It was, it wasn't Keegan Klein. So just forget about that. Oh, all right. So, okay, maybe he didn't kill the girls, but he's the one that was talking to the girls and everything. He had a bunch of kid photos, young girls' photos in his phone, dude. Um, and you just want to forget about that, I guess. I don't know. Right? I just want to forget about that. And I've been saying in these chats, hey, if Keegan Klein is not the killer, fine. At least we got a bad person, a very bad person, someone that probably made a history or a living off of this. Someone, if we did not catch now, would have continued to probably, with a sick fantasy, begin to rape and kill children or young girls. So I'm happy Keegan Klein is behind bars. Yes, Debbie, you are right. This is only about Ron or Richard Allen. I also think Richard Allen could have been set up, Debbie. It'll be hard to prove if there ain't no phone number or anything or any fake accounts connecting him to anyone else or any other women that were killed or Abby and Libby. If he didn't have anything at his house, no DNA of the girls, any clothes or anything, then they don't have too good of a case. They got to have something. Or he knew about it and there was others involved. Mm, Maybe everybody's going to testify that it was someone else, police. Maybe there's a bad police officer. I'm getting wind. I'm getting word that there's another person that was in that area at that time that also owned a SIG 40 cal, other than the police officer that they're saying. And there was a YouTuber, supposedly. I'm having some tea. I have just got so many people trespassing on me now. Ooh, I got some peanut butter cookies I forgot about. Natural Valley biscuits, peanut butter biscuits. I'm gonna dip that right in my tea, Debbie. Let's see how this turns out. Hold on a minute. Mm, mm. Yeah, I know, Deb. I can say this much. They had 7 years. State had 7 years to build their case, to investigate it. 7 years. And they didn't even test all the hair that was found there. They didn't test certain blood splatter. Now people are saying there's a good chance that bridge guy or whoever did the murders might have cut themselves or nicked themselves. Maybe one of the girls scratched him and he was bleeding. And they haven't even tested it all. They haven't even gone through all the phone data. They haven't even gone through all the phone data. They haven't even got a voice analyzing guy yet to come in and compare the voices. them are the people you spend the money on. When you're building a case and you got $1.4 million, you take the 50 grand and you get your professionals to say this is how it is. 7 years, $1.4 million. Where'd it go? No, we said this 5 years ago. I think I got like, I don't know, 800 Delphi videos. We pretty much knew that it was a bunch of foobar from the beginning. We knew something was up when people started checking into these guys that were YouTubers and claiming that they were law enforcement and private investigators and bondsmen, and they weren't. That was all lies. All Ernie Shells. And you don't do something like that unless you're trying to cover something up. You don't have that many people proclaiming all this stuff, and they're not unless they were trying to cover something up. Yeah. Yeah, people been attacked. A lot of us have been attacked mentally, physically, verbally, physically. And it's just a shamble. I agree with you, Deb. Higginbotham, are you going to pick on a pregnant woman that ain't here? Now he's talking about ATF News. She said it traced DNA and ATS refuted me because she ain't no scholar. Oh my God. It just means you are getting paid. I ain't getting paid. And that's another fabrication they made. You were paying them billions. Yeah, you're not paying. I'm broker than a joker, like a midnight toker. And I climbed the jelly bean stalker. I mean, I ain't playing these games. Debbie is right. They had 7 years. Right? This whole thing, did they wait 7 years so we can now say 7 years and four scores ago? Right? Which means they're bringing it all back to this ancient, mythical organization or whatever, Masons or Odins or whatever. So they can all be with, see, and that's what it think. That's what I think it is. In the sign we're seeing, the way the girls were staged, a lot of people are saying, well, that's a sign of Odinism with the legs crossed. I see a four. Then what do I see? Then I see a seven. So was this idiot, this psycho madman, pointing out clues in the bodies, pointing them out? The girls, one girl was pointing to the other girl's shoe. He was a complete psycho, or these people were complete psychos. They were staging bodies. The leg was crossed. It looks like a four. There was a seven there. What do you do? Four score and 7 years ago. Debbie, ain't that an old school saying, or who said that? Four scores and 7 years ago. That's something to do with the Constitution or something like that. Or I don't know. I mean, to get inside of a killer's mind, we don't know. Everyone's saying there it's signs. It might be signs, but it ain't Odin signs. This idiot's lost in some sicko numbers and letters. Like who? Zodiac. Like the Zodiac killer. A lot of professionals say the Zodiac killer was a military guy. I wonder if Richard Allen's seen any combat. I wonder if he had any combat. Was he anywhere near combat? Did he have PSTD or whatever they call it, PST? Did he see combat? That's what I would be asking in court. If I was working to get him off, right? If I was defense. Because I'd use that as his. He's delusional. He had mental health. He's seen combat and war and everything. He's been on medication for many years. He's got PST and right. He's knee deep in shit. And then base the madness and the psycho craziness off of that. I mean, I can go both. I can go either way. State could use it. So could defense. Right. I find this hard to believe it was his first kill. Whoever did this, I don't know if it was Richard Allen. Only God knows. Only Jesus and God knows. And maybe the FBI. The higher ups. With the tools to figure out the crime. But you just don't do something like this. And people all around, all these people on the bridge and people around. If it's true what they say on the recording, you can hear people in the background. Were them people walking on the trail to do something like this? I don't know. Your first kill, to take a risk that much, I don't know. Walk in and walk out the same way you came in, and you leave the same way. That's too risky. I'm sorry, that's just too risky. And the witnesses ain't adding up. Even the witnesses are describing different people in different areas. We got a guy walking on the bridge. We got a guy walking on the other bridge. And then we got reports of a guy walking on the road by the cemetery. So either there was more people there, or he walked in, got the girls where he wanted them, killed them, and walked out through the cemetery, walked down the road, and he actually jumped back on the trail right where the girls were dropped off and walked the bridge and back to his car. That also would explain the sighting of a guy on the road. Who knows? I think, though, they got most of these people. And the case will still go on even after Richard Allen is in prison. After Keegan Klein is in prison, after all of them are. The case will still go on. Because it's bigger than what most of you people can fathom. And the reason we do have all these killers out on the street is because most of these people, one person out of their ring or whatever, got caught. But that's as far as our justice system goes. We don't dig deeper. And we don't question their friends and the people that they hung out with. Right? You're dealing with a pedo. And people that he hangs around with and everything. Now, either Keegan Klein and these guys were keeping it on the down low and nobody knew but them. But Keegan Klein himself said there was other people using the account. And he's the one that created the account. I just hope they get the right guy. Maybe they are looking for someone named Richard, and Richard Allen is not the guy. It's someone else named Richard. We don't know. LaQuisha Sinclair said Keegan Klein never left his parents' basement. That's not true. 12 days after the murders, they picked up Keegan Klein. 12 days after the murder, they knew Keegan Klein was talking to the girls. They picked him up, questioned him, gave him a polygraph. He passed it, supposedly. We don't know if that's true. We do know it's true that they did pick him up and took his devices 12 days after the murder. They did release him after questioning. And him and his dad took off to Las Vegas as soon as they got out of jail. If that don't scream some kind of a guilt or I mean, maybe not in the Delphi murders or whatever, but he was talking to Abby Libby and he was talking to other girls, underage girls, and he was a sicko. So, and Keegan Klein said he knows more about the case. He's got more information on the case, but the police didn't want to hear him. They said they didn't believe him. Debbie says, not sure, four horsemen of the apocalypse. Maybe Debbie. There could be something to that. Maybe he was sending a sign like that, or I know one thing. I could use a healing Lord, and I could use some healing. In Jesus' name. Let's see. Laquisha wants to know, Johnny, is it lawful to take pictures or videos of kids in public? I don't think it's illegal if they're underage and nude or stuff like that. I think it's illegal. You know, they changed the law. It might be illegal to show photos of any kid if you're not related to them or something. I don't know. The laws have changed. I'm not sure. I don't know. Now, the guy I was listening to is FBI, and he said it's against the law to show any kid under 13 on the internet. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, it's a 4, Debbie. But they said that's the way that Judas was hung from the tree upside down with his leg crossed, like a 4. So, I don't know. That's what it is. Our forefathers, Debbie. fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers. That's what it was, Debbie. Well, you might be able to, Letitia Sinclair. Excuse me. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers. And that's right out of school. And in the beginning of the case, they thought it was a 7 or an F or a reverse 7, reverse F or something on the tree or something. I don't know. All right, I'm going to end this video. I will be back. Maybe with another fire, but maybe later on. I'm going to have some more tea. I feel like John Bon Jovi's trespassing on me. Didn't he just get a whole new voice? I think he got something like a plastic windpipe or something. I don't know what religion he was. I have no idea what religion Richard Allen was. Probably a Christian. Not sure. Who's right? LaQuisha says it. She says can't trespass the eyes. It does. I mean, I'm not saying I can't say 100%. It's Richard Allen on the bridge. Richard Allen might be the guy on the bridge. It's kind of got his nose. Okay, but it's too far away for me to say 100%. The video is way too messed up right now to say 100% it's Richard Allen. It does look like him, similar, but so do three other guys. So, all right, I'm going to end this video. I might be back later tonight. I'm going to relax. If you all can pray for me, I appreciate it. All glory goes to God. Amen. And justice for Abby and Libby. Hopefully soon. If there was one, or if there was many, still need justice. But I think we explained why Richard Allen had so many phones. And that was so he didn't get tracked. And that was so he can go in and out of chats and internet and watch and listen. And I do believe he got spooked. That's why he changed his height on his fishing license. And that's why he changed certain things. You folks have a great night. God bless. And we'll see you when you come back. I don't know why he did the things he did, Debbie, if it was him, but hopefully the truth comes out. I'll be back later on. You folks have a great night. God bless.